Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big ideas that are shaping our world. Today, we're diving straight into the IEA's latest World Energy Outlook. And folks, it's a big one. So, let me ask you a question. What if the entire global energy system is in the middle of a massive change, right now, as we speak? Well, here's the thing. It is. This isn't some far-off future scenario. A massive historic transformation is already underway, and it affects everything from your electricity bill to who holds power on the world stage. So, over the next few minutes, we're going to map out this brand new energy reality. We'll look at the powerful forces driving this change, the major hurdles we have to overcome, and what it all means for our shared future. Okay, so before we can really get a handle on where we're going, we've got to take a quick look back. We need to understand the world, the system we're leaving behind. For decades, our energy system was pretty straightforward, predictable even. It was dominated by fossil fuels, powering steady growth, mostly in advanced economies like the US and Europe. But the game has completely changed. The drivers of our future look totally different, fueled by a clean technology revolution and explosive growth in emerging markets. And look, this isn't some slow, gradual evolution. We're talking about a rapid acceleration thanks to three powerful game changers that are literally rewriting the rules as we speak. First up, and this one is huge, the cost of key clean technologies has absolutely collapsed. I mean, just think about this. Solar panels and the batteries in electric cars are over 80% cheaper than they were just 10 years ago. That is incredible, and it makes them competitive on a scale we've just never, ever seen before. Second, there's a brand new, massive demand for electricity that's emerging, and it's coming from data centers and AI. The investment here is just staggering. We're talking about nearly $600 billion expected in 2025 alone. Just wow. You've probably heard the saying, data is the new oil. Well, this right here shows it's not just a clever phrase anymore, it is becoming an economic reality. For the first time ever, we are spending more on the hardware that runs our digital world than on the global supply of oil. That is a profound economic pivot. And if you want to see just how significant that new demand is, just look at this. Between now and 2030, data centers and AI are going to be responsible for almost a third of all new electricity demand growth. A third! And it's happening mostly in the US, China, and Europe. Okay. So with all this change swirling around, where does it all lead? That's the big question, right? Well, the IEA uses something called scenarios to help us think about it. And these aren't crystal balls. They're more like tools to explore different possible futures. And this is a really important point to get. These are not predictions of what will happen. Think of them more like rigorously modeled stories. They basically tell us, hey, if we make these choices today, here are the likely consequences. It's all about exploring the what-ifs. So let's look at just two of these paths, and you'll see a massive difference. If we stick to our current policies, kind of business as usual, oil might be around $75 a barrel in 2050. But on a path to net zero emissions, it could fall all the way to just $25. This just goes to show you how much our policy choices right now can shape our entire energy and economic future. But of course, it's never that simple, is it? The path to a whole new energy system isn't going to be a totally smooth ride. There are some major obstacles ahead. First up, there is a massive investment gap. Right now, the world is on track to invest $3.3 trillion in energy next year. That sounds like a ton of money, and it is. But to actually meet climate goals, we'd need to be spending closer to $5 trillion every single year. And it's not just about the total dollar amount. The transition is facing some very real physical and financial barriers. For instance, it's more than twice as expensive to finance clean energy projects in developing nations. Our electrical grids are literally clogged. There's a huge waiting list of clean energy projects waiting to connect. And then you have the supply chains for critical minerals, which are highly concentrated in just a few places. And this quote from the report really hits the nail on the head. It all comes down to risk and return. If investors see too much risk, or if the cost of borrowing money is just too high, the capital, the money, it simply won't flow where it's needed most to build this new system. It really is that simple. So, when you put all of this together, what does it all mean for the global map of power and influence? Well, the very center of the energy world is on the move. For decades, Brazil's hydropower made Latin America the leader in renewables. Today, that center has shifted to the European Union. But by 2050, it's going to be decisively in Asia, driven by the incredible expansion in China and India. This is fundamentally redrawing the map of global influence. So, the key takeaway here is this. We're witnessing a fundamental change in the very nature of energy itself. The old system was centralized around things like oil wells and gas fields. The new one is decentralized, it's powered by electricity, and it is heavily dependent on a whole new set of critical minerals. This redefinition of energy is going to redefine economies and international relations for decades to come. And this leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. In a world powered by new technologies and new resources, as this energy map is redrawn, who will hold the power? Who will be the winners and the losers of this great energy shift? The answer to that is going to define the coming century.